I always like to grab onto the cup of hope, especially on a Monday morning. It's that cup of hope. It gives us a lot of strength, and it's the cup of hope that we all share and that brings us together. I'm going to want to talk about my favorite passages this week. And most of you know what they are, because many of you think there's only 4 or 5 passages in the whole Bible that I know. The one I probably read the most, or almost the most, is Ecclesiastes. For everything there is a season, and there is a time for every matter under heaven. I sometimes get a little bit melancholy and philosophical, and I will think back upon my almost 47 years here at the church. And I think of all the seasons that we have shared as a church. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up what is planting, the mourning and the joy and the coming together and the being apart. And I think of the seasons of my own life. At the age of 72, a lot of seasons, and I hope there are still some more to come. I guess the promise that gives me strength, and hopefully you too, and that is that whatever season we're in, that the good Lord walks through us during that season. The tough seasons, the good seasons, the in-between seasons, that in all the seasons that we share, the spirit of a humble carpenter and the spirit of the good Lord is going to be with us. Remember last year when the pandemic had just kind of started? It was May, it was Mother's Day, and we didn't have church, and we decided to have the plant sale. And it was in the garage and on the back parking lot. And last Mother's Day was the first time that anybody came together on the church property. And so many of you came on Saturday and Sunday, and I just noticed that you just stood there in the parking lot and enjoyed being here. Because we had been apart, and now for a few moments, facial coverings and all, we were together. And this Mother's Day weekend, we're going to have a plant sale too. A plant sale where it's okay to be together. And our natural tendency is to want to come together, and we have to be apart. Those are the kind of seasons we have. And for so long, we had seasons where we couldn't embrace, and now, for many of us, we can embrace again. And it feels good. At the end of that passage in Ecclesiastes, there's a couple words that I sometimes have trouble reading. It says there's a time to love and a time to hate. There's a time for war and there's a time for peace. I think of that word hate. Somebody told me that the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. If you're the kind of person that loves with passion, if you're the kind of person that throws everything into a relationship, if something happens, it can turn into hate. And yet, love fills us up and hate kind of empties us. But I guess if we love with passion, sometimes we do hate. Then I think there's a time for war and a time for peace. It's hard to think about war, people fighting. But I was at Abraham Lincoln Cemetery recently, and I stood there and I saw all those tombstones, rows and rows of people in the military that fought and died for our country. And I thought to myself, I feel so at peace. But I realized in order to be in a country of peace, there are people that had to give their lives. Yes, there is a time to love and a time to hate and a time for war and a time for peace. But I do hope that those times of love and those times of peace that fill us up, that can be the defining times of a God who loves us and is with us. Well, it's been good to share this little hunk of the season with you. For everything, there is a season, and we share those seasons together. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.